Hi, welcome to everyone's favourite segment, Mailbag. Let's get right into it. Thank you very much, Chris Peters from San Ramon in California. Haven't heard of San Ramon. I'm going to have to do this one on the side because it's quite a substantial package. Thank you very much. Jeez, this ain't easy. Yeah, I'm cutting towards myself. I know what I'm a professional. I'm Australian. No worries. You have a note. Bubble wrap. Can always use bubble wrap. Customs border. Oh yeah, by the way, was opened by Uncle Sam. Check it out. US Customs border and whatever. It's a Royal Mail bag. Oh look, I'm a Royal Mail bag. Woohoo! Wow, tons of stuff. Thank you very much. Yeah, this might look weird on the X-ray maybe. I think that's it. This is nuts. I got Pez and a Pez dispenser. R2. It's an R2 Pez dispenser. Beautiful. Oh. Pez dispenser I am. Beautiful. Tons of Pez. I don't mind Pez at all. I don't understand the fascination with the Pez dispenser though. But, you know, yanks. I've never had a genuine Altoids tin. Apparently these are the thing. What are they? Curiously strong mints. See, I hate mint. But apparently they're useful project boxes. Like everyone builds projects into Altoids tins. Thank you very much. Badges, empowering makers. Mouser. Mouser. Is this from Mouser? Not sure why everything's got to be in an individual bag. Northern California Pirate Festival. Arr. Have I tied my bandana right? I don't know. I'm not a bandana. I don't think I've ever worn a bandana. Anyway, it's pirate. Arr. The first ever BMW 4 Series Grand Coupe. Why? Is it one of those electronic? Oh yeah, look, its headlights come on. Well done. Does it make a sound? Does it interact? Is that it? It's got a couple of cells in there open to this page, yeah. Really? They went to that just to make the headlights turn on? Pathetic. Really. BMW. Some wankers in marketing there thought that was a great idea. Open source cloud platform, the Relayer IO. I don't know. I probably should read like the note, right? Yeah. Maker Fair, Year of the Maker. These banners things are big in Yankee land, aren't they? You know, we're not into the banner things here in Australia. Stickers, thank you very much. Imagine what Customs thought of all this. Like, why are they sending this to that crazy Aussie bloke in Australia? Seas Candies and Mouser Electronics are both owned by Berkshire Really? I didn't know Mouser was owned by Berkshire Hathaway. Everything's got a little typed post-it note on it, so that's pretty cool. The best part of AlienCon was meeting Billy Mummy and Angela Cartwright from Lost in Space. Also seeing the is it the B9 robot? Cool, AlienCon. That's where the other year I'll have to put it in. It's confirmed. Aliens confirmed. Because the Ancient Aliens guy met up with Fox Mulder. It's the photo that breaks the internet. Ancient Aliens. There it is. Fantastic. This is great. Postcards. Oh man, this is classic. Love to go to AlienCon just for the kicks. Oh wow. Wow, this is a ton of stuff. Giorgio Tsoukalos. There he is. If I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Ancient Aliens guy. Love it. It's like the internet's best meme. Okay, this is getting silly. This is getting way too much. A calculator. What confuser is this going to be? It's a royal. A royal. No, look, that looks like a diary. It looks like one of those, yeah, it's pocket diary. That's not a calculator. It's one of those pocket diaries before we had these newfangled smartphones. I carried a Sharp pocket diary. Thank you very much. 16K. Fantastic. Everything's so thoroughly labelled. We've got the product information for a board. It's dead. Wrapped in plastic. It's a Nutone. What's a Nutone? I have no idea. Let's take a closer look. 1990 vintage. Still rocking through hole. It's not a single surface mount jobby on the whole thing. So Chris has been an authorised Nutone service centre for 32 years and has a YouTube channel, so I'll link that in down below. But anyway, this board was featured in his 200th video. It's a prototype unit, and it was done. The engineering was done by North American Philips, because Nutone couldn't do it in-house at the time, presumably. And they were released to customers, and then chaos ensued without any service manual or technical information. I wonder why they didn't have any technical information if Philips not want to give it up. That's weird. We were tasked with performing field service calls, but it was so bad after 2 years they couldn't fix the problems and they scrapped and all the units were recalled. Wow. And then Nutone decided to redesign this. But there you go. It's all through hole, as I said, and right away, right off the bat, down in there, I can see that little puppy's been replaced. Somebody's had a go at that. You can see the flux residue on that compared to some of the others. One of the first things I noticed. Interestingly, they've got some coaxes running under the shield. So joining, what I was going to say is this, and no, that's not an input. That's just some regulators on a heatsink over there. Anyway, the reason they had to get that right over to there, that seems weird. Hey, that's near the, is that near the crystal? I don't know what's going on. Is that a clock going over? Very strange. Anyway, yeah, they've got some mods on here. These, of course, would have been all shielded CAN sections, and we've got a 80C31 up there. So there's your ROM and some sort of oaky chipset that looks like I/O. Got an ST part, which is 93B1. No idea what that is. Could be a specialised part for whatever application. So this is like, all this wiring's a bit how you doing. No connectors or anything like that coming off. And we've got a shielded cam, which looks like it's a tuner up here or something. Looks like power might come in over there. But interesting. We don't know why they have the tape on top of the caps. What's doing there? Ooh, Shoei brand. Fantastic. Haven't seen, geez, I rarely see those, I think. Anyway, this was just a boondoggle, apparently, and just didn't work, and they had to scrap it and recall it or whatever. Anyway, I think this one was the early prototype of the Nutone design one and not the Philips one. They're all scrap, but what is it like? It's just an alarm, intercom system. It seems ridiculously complicated for an intercom system. And so, wow, like, it's just hideously over-engineered. Seems that way anyway. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on the back. There's your power to transformer, all that sort of stuff. FM antenna, right. So intercom, okay. So yeah, like you could play music or whatnot. Presumably you had a receiver on there. FCC stuff, but even the backing plates all look really weird and convoluted. Anyway, that's interesting. A custom intercom system. Never heard of Nutone, but yeah, it's a Yankee thing, I guess. Oh, I forgot to open the product information packet. There it is. This looks like it's one of those like ones you'll find in those dodgy, old school 1980s hotels. Like an intercom. This is a home intercom system. It's that's a monster panel. If your handset's that size, that is an absolutely enormous panel. Oh, it's got cassette. Fantastic. Okay, so this did a fair bit more. Selective calls, give you private one-on-one communication, state-of-the-art telephone answering with remote access, touch tone phone, none of that rotary dial rubbish. Top quality smart telephone, built-in speakerphone, auto reverse cassette. Oh, wow. It still seems overly complex for that though. So, yeah. Wow, that is remarkable. Hands up if you had one of these in your home. Wow. Anyway, yeah, fancy pantsy. Could take messages and all that. Well, I guess. Yeah. But it's not a digital. Oh, the cassette's for the that's for the recording, I believe. So yeah, it's not a digital record. Yeah, cassette recorder functions. It's not a digital recorder, hence why you won't find any, if it was a digital recorder, you'd find a whole bunch of like non-volatile memory in there somewhere to do whatever. So there's a battery in there, but that'd just be for a real-time clock or whatnot. And yeah, so it must be all analog, but there's certainly a lot on there, isn't there? That is just an enormous board for that task. So that went on. So that's how big that the panel must have been. And I presume that this cutout in here is for something to do with the speaker or the phone to it. So wow, that was in the back of it. Interesting. Thanks, Chris. Hands up if you had a Royal. I can't say I've ever heard of them, but yeah, because like Sharp were the dominant player in the until they just completely died with the the Blackberries and things like that came out before the newfangled smartphones, I guess. But yeah, these pocket diaries are all the rage. Let's crack it open. Ooh, it's Royal Ideas, is it? Anyway, as common with all of these, they didn't have flash memory back in the day. They were all SRAM, volatile storage, and you'd always have the backup battery, which you had one or two operational batteries, plus the backup battery, and you couldn't take them all out at once. If you did, it'd likely die, because then the only thing holding the contents would be the reserve charge on the main capacitor inside. So yeah, all that vital information that you take for granted in your phone these days, that's in your contacts and everything else, and that's all just stored in SRAM, which could just be gone with one little interconnection problem. Anyway, we're in Flynn. Geez, there we go. Oh, geez, they're fancy-pantsy contacts, aren't they? Wow, look at that. 4-pronged contacts. Wow. Geez, I don't think I've seen that many before. Wow, hang on. This is pretty recent. Look at this. 9850, that was into 2000. Recent job. But geez, look at that. Look at that piezo transducer there. And we've got a resonator. None of this crystal rubbish. Save a couple of cents on the resonator there. Then just everything's chip on board. That's all your that's all your LCD driver, but that's doing other stuff too. So it's a 2-chip solution that does the whole thing. Bob's your uncle. That's it. Combination of as common in the day, through hole and surface mount, but it's pretty crusty around. All these stuff looks like they're hand soldered on there. And of course you had electrolytic caps because you didn't have the large value ceramic capacitors. You take a 100 microfarad ceramic capacitor for granted these days, but back then 10 microfarads, 1 microfarad was an absolutely enormous size cap. So to get larger values, you still use your electrolytics. So yeah, you wouldn't think twice about using a 100 microfarad ceramic these days, but they are pretty pricey. Ooh, did anyone have a problem with their hotbar back in the day? These were very common in the digital diaries, but I don't remember anyone really having any major issues with the digital diaries, really. Hands up if you did. How can anyone wear these things? Mate, your head gets really hot in these, so I don't get it. Anyway, thank you very much, Motic group. I think they teed me up on this one, so let's get into it. It's serious when it's got the straps. So, got rid of those. Whoa. Oh, it's got that styrofoam smell. We have ourselves geez, that's a hefty base. We have ourselves a microscope. So let's check it out. There's our head. It's one of these stereoscopic-y things. So, yeah, I'll spare you the details. I'll set it up and let's check it out. So what we have here is the Motic SS41, or the Swift brand. Motic's the original manufacturer. They call it the Swift brand. It's got Swift on the front here. And it's a stereoscopic microscope for electronics repair work, among other things. It's your basic stereoscopic microphone with your ×1 objective and your ×10. And also this includes ×20 eyepiece, wide field eyepieces as well, with a massive working distance. I've already set this up, and it's about 220 millimeters working distance. So it really is quite phenomenal. Nice heavy base here with mains power, direct input, and dual 1-watt lamps there. They're getting a bit warmy. So we can have a look at that. Make it even wider angle. Yep, we can just take out the lens there and make it wide angle if you want. That's pretty neat. Anyway, dual 1-watt LEDs there One of the things I really like about it is this super heavy die-cast enamel-coated base on it. It really is remarkably heavy of it. The rest of it, it's really quite light, and it's dual gooseneck. And apart from that, the frame is pretty standard. It comes with this kind of weird thing that can go up like that, so I'm not sure why you'd actually want to tilt it up. If you want to get something on an angle, perhaps, but then your but then your eyepieces aren't exactly in the right spot, so I'm not sure what the deal is there. It can't actually fall down any further than that because it hits a stop there. But basically, it's a little bit clunky to adjust at first. Although this is like for a regular screw attachment, it's good enough. And once you screw that in place, then you've got a fairly nice, smooth action on your. There's no slippage at all under its own weight or anything like that. So it's quite a nice feel to get your focus on your PCB. That would be enough adjustment range to get a decently thick PCB in there, so you can focus on the components top and bottom of that. But unfortunately, this particular model doesn't have a trinocular port here. It doesn't have a third point for attaching a camera. So I'm going to have to do my best to shove the camera up to the eyepiece of this thing and see if we can get something out of it. Otherwise, you'll just have to trust me. And it comes with an extra stopper there so that you can just set that limiter so that if you accidentally adjust this and it drops down, it's not going to smash your objective right against the bench. So yeah, nice touch. Anyway, that's a bit how you're doing, but that's only a cover. If you take the cover off, you can see the objective lenses down in there. Yes, they are sort of tilted, bent inwards towards each other. That's very deliberate, of course, to get your stereoscopic focus on your object. And it looks like that plate can just slide off and you can actually replace it with a different objective lens. This is a ×1, so presumably you can buy other objectives, but I haven't looked at that. So if you take the ×1 objective and you get the ×10 wide field eyepieces, you're looking at a total magnification of 10 times. If you want to check out the optics, down in there behind the eyepiece, there you go. We've got our prism and looks like pretty nice quality optics. You can tell by when you actually look through the thing. It's pretty decent, especially for the price. You know, it's not like top grade, but it's certainly not any sort of, eBay junk. Now, this particular model is 188 UK pounds, and they've only given me a link to Amazon UK for this. I can't find it on Amazon.com, but like the American Amazon, but it's also you can buy this as the AmScope brand, and there's a lot of talk on the EEVblog forum about the AmScope microscopes and how they're very good. I believe that this is absolutely identical to the AmScope SE400, and that's $288 US, but it does come with a wider set of lenses, I believe, than the one I got here direct from Motic. So it looks like AmScope is actually a Motic brand microscope. There you go, or at least this one is anyway. I don't know about many of the others because there's like 20 million different model AmScope microscopes. And I'm sitting at a standard bench height here, and it's practically the perfect height. And this working distance is ridiculously good, 220 millimeters. You can't complain about that. I'm really not leaning over much at all. So that is fantastic. That image looks pretty clear across the field, and I have about a 25 millimeter total field of view there with the ×10 eyepieces. You probably wouldn't want any greater. You wouldn't be using your ×20 for regular soldering. Maybe if you're doing ridiculously fine stuff, perhaps you might whack in the ×20s, but for general purpose soldering, I mean, a field of view of 25 millimeters is not much at all. So you wouldn't be using this probably for general purpose soldering. In fact, you might get ×5 eyepieces for something like that. ×10, you'd be doing finer like repair work, something like that. I wouldn't be sort of using this for just general purpose day-to-day soldering with the ×10, but the wide field eyepieces look very nice. Let me put a board under it. Okay, I just put a tiny little board down there, and it's a little bit higher than the ruler, like a millimeter or two, and I had to just tweak the tongue at the right angle, just tweak the focus here, so it doesn't have a large depth of field, but you wouldn't expect that. But for surface mount soldering, that is very clear. I'm quite impressed with that. There's no distortion at the edges by the looks of it. Very clear, very sharp, and with the gooseneck lights, of course, you can get in there at the right angle to view part numbers and stuff like that. You want these movable ones. It can be nice to have the coaxial light actually going down that actually shines light into the microscope mechanism itself, and I think I've showed that in a previous video, coaxial light one, but then it's just shining down. You don't have the ability to, unless you can switch it from like different quadrants or something like that. Having your gooseneck lights like this, often they get in the way, but they're really handy when you actually need to read part numbers and get the light at just the right angle. So these actually look very nice, and the color rendition looks excellent. Wow, I'll see if I can take a photo through this, but video through this, but sorry if I can't. And here we go. I was able to get in with my 1:1 macro lens, and you can pretty much see what I see, except it has cropped off a little bit of the roundness of the field of view. I didn't do that in editing. That's just the way the microscope is. So hopefully you can see this in 4K, and of course it's going to be real time because it's none of that digital rubbish. And maybe you'll see what I mean with the part numbers and stuff like that. But as you can see, hopefully you can see that in 4K. That really is quite sharp, quite beautiful. Yeah, it is a larger field of view than what you see here. It's fantastic. Very happy with that. Yeah, it might even look a little bit duller through here, perhaps. It is really bright through the eyepiece. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that. And it's as good as an optical microscope as you'd get, especially in this price range. I mean, like, I still prefer the 3D Mantis, of course, for ease of use, but it's literally like 10 times the price of this thing. More, 20 times the price, is it? So hopefully you can see like a little hair down in there, perhaps. It's a little hair. Anyway, you can see some, some solder, excess solder bumps, or are they some sort of test pads that have had solder put onto them? Very nice. For the price, couldn't do much better. And if we tilt the board up to have a look, for example, we can see the balls under there of that little 4-pin jobby down there. And so it may not be focusing the best on this camera, so please forgive me. Trust me, it is through the microscope, it is bang on. It's really very, very nice. So I hope this is coming out on the camera. Well, now that's first-class construction, isn't it? I really like that. It is a universal mains input supply, so you don't have to worry about region. It's, 110 to 240. It's very nicely constructed, and everything's tied together, and that's just fantastic. Proper earth connection down there. As I said, nice big heavy die-cast case on the thing, and just a switching constant current supply to drive the dual 2-watt LEDs. Looks like 300 milliamps down there, but I really like that it is direct IEC mains input. Yes, it is fused as well. That's fantastic. None of this plug pack rubbish. Just plug it straight in, and nice big heavy base so it's not going to fall over. Sweet. Just that base plate adds a huge amount of weight. It's thick as. Look at that. Unbelievable. So I think this is pretty decent value for money. The performance seems to be there in terms of the optical quality for sure. The gooseneck lights are nice heavy base. It's not going to fall over. I'm not going to write home to my mum about the quality, but for the price, pretty impressed. That's certainly more than good enough for any type of SMD repair work you could do. But for general purpose soldering, as I said, I prefer like a wider field, so I'd probably get a set of ×5 eyepieces for this thing. But yeah, it's got a diopter adjust and all that, into optical pupillary adjustment-y thing on it as well. So it ain't too shabby. Well worth looking into if you just want a standard stereoscopic microscope. Of course, if you want to actually project this thing, you got to buy the trinocular version. I'm not sure if there's a trinocular version of this actual one, but anyway, I'll link in Motic's website, and AmScope, who's very reputable dealer, seem to be rebadging. They seem to be happy to whack their AmScope brand on these Motic microscopes, so pretty decent quality. Don't mind it at all. Not too shabby. Thank you very much, Greg Logland from Kingsport in Tennessee. So, I think TN, Tennessee? I think so. I think a Tennessee is just like whiskey. Whatever. Sorry, residents of Tennessee. If that's the only thing international people think of Tennessee, well, you know, yeah, work on your PR. This one is, ta-da, oh. Check it out, Texas Hold'em. Wow, that looks a bit worn. Looks a bit how you doing, and we've got a confuser. Oh, the TI fanboys go wild, the 30XS. If we had that on before, we'll do a quick teardown inside that. We've got, I have no idea what that board is. It's got a relay on it, and we have a note. Hey, Mr. Aussie. Yeah, I'll go by Mr. Aussie. Greg, thank you very much. From Tennessee in the USA, I've been watching for 4 to 5 years, finally able to send you stuff. Circuit off a micro desktop. It's a mini interface for USB. Old defrost board from a Kenmore package heat pump unit. No idea why. Oh, it's got some conformally coding on it. Finally, this old handheld game for 5-minute teardowns. Poker game, Texas Hold'em. Terrific. And there's supposed to be some Yankee money in here too, but no. All I got was a fuse instead of money. Aww. Yeah, there's that heat pump controller board. You can see by the shine on there, that's all conformally coated. That'll stop any moisture build up on that. You can see the shine on the chips there. Very common. The TI-30XX multi-view. Ah, brilliant. Doesn't work, does it? Oh, it works. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Look at that. Nice contrast on that. That's one of these newfangled things. I mean, absolutely useless for engineering. I mean, you know, there's no like engineering key on this thing, and it's at least it's got dedicated one on X button. But yeah, it's just this formula-based thing. I want to push that and get my inverse. I don't want to have to press bloody enter. Keep it in fractions. Blah. Well, that's as boring as you expected, isn't it? I mean, actually, there's a lot of wasted volume in that. Quite surprised, but yeah, just one chip on board solution there. That looks like a lead, doesn't it? Why would they have that? Are they using a lead as a voltage regulator? Marked as D1, but I'm pretty sure that's a lead. Let's see if we can light it up. Yep, teeny tiny, lights up, just a 1.6 volts drop. Let's change the range on that. Let's get our 15 volt range. That'll put a bit more juice through it. There you go, 1.85, and so they're using a lead as a diode. That's actually not uncommon, but not in a calculator like this. Is that a TI thing? I can't remember previous teardowns, but if anyone knows, please let us know. But anyway, I guess they figured a lead's better. Meh. But you can really see the difference between the TI and the Casio. TI just don't have it down pat. I mean, you've got two separate boards here. You've got one for the processor and another one for your keyboard here, whereas Casio ones tend to integrate things, and they integrate the battery onto the film and everything. Like, this costs a lot more to produce than the Casio ones, that's for sure. Tournament Texas Hold'em. It works. What was that? Is that the sound of the... What is that sound? Sound of a card sorting machine or something? What? It talks! Wow! Fantastic! I won't pretend to know how to play poker. Used to a little bit back in the old day, but I don't know. Texas Hold'em. Meh. It's opened up. Progressing on its own. It's like auto-playing. There's a raise. 2004 vintage. It really looks like from the front, it looks like something out of the 80s. That's what I would have been guessing. So, you know, that's relatively recent. Right, so it's got those voices in there, and they didn't sound very digitally, so I reckon it's got one of those analog vocoder chippies in it. Oh, we're in. So, geez, yeah, that's exactly what you expect in a consumer game. Is it just going to have one big chip on board? Let's get this out. I'll tell you what, there's an awful lot of screws holding this thing down in here. It would have been better and cheaper to produce if they would have like put the various raised moldy bits in here that could just hold the board in place. But anyway, I guess they had their reasons at the time. But yeah, we've been mooned here, so we're gonna have to get these out as well. Button boards, jeez, that's an extra cent for that screw. Another extra cent. All adds up to assembly cost. But then again, China was cheap in 2004. It's not as cheap these days. That's why a lot of companies are onshoring, it's called. They're bringing their manufacturing back from China because it's they realise it's just as cheap or cheaper to do it here, or there's advantages to doing it here. So let's get it out. So I expected, no, it's one big chip on board. Wow, I kind of would have expected maybe well, that's a variation of one of those vocorders, but like it could be a 2-die solution under there, but I'm guessing it's not. So they've probably like rolled their own custom job for that, including the voice synthesis. But as I said, like they probably got the vocoder technology from one of a couple of companies that do that, the vocoder stuff. So it sounded like the analog-y type vocoder thing, but it could just be a digital solution, certainly, in 2004. So anyway, yeah, that's it. So nothing really remotely interesting there. They've gone for the single chip solution because that was the absolute cheapest. So they put a lot of NRE cost into that, but of course then they can churn them out cheap as chips, but then they go and put bloody 20 screws in the thing. Ugh, I don't know. Anyway, neat. We've got something from the Central Tower in Guangdong province in China. Yeah, okay, thank you. It's the description, huge spoiler, it's a sensor. Oh yeah, I know what this is. The packaging is like up to here already on the ground. So it's an Elecrow Crowtail STEM EDU kit. So there you go, we've got another educational kit, and this is what they really, geez, that's meaty. It's the CrowVi 15.6-inch portable monitor. So it's, yeah, it's a, I think it's a USB-C monitor. So I don't have a USB-C. Oh, well, I do. One of my big 4K monitor has USB-C input, but I don't use the USB-C input, but it does have it. So, I should open up this on the other bench, but geez, that's flat out like a lizard drinking. Oh, we got the wanky feel on it. That carbony whatever feel, and that's a stand holdery thing. Yep, under there like that. Got ourselves a 15.6-inch monitor. That could be very nice for the bench somehow. Awesome. We've got the Elecrow Crowtail STEM EDU kit for microbit. 17 lessons and missions. Kind of looks like Space Invaders, doesn't it? Present like a couple of buttons and some LEDs, but that just reminds me of the bases down the bottom, everything. Anyway, let's have a squiz. Here you go. Won't go into a huge amount of detail, but looks like we have our baseboard. That's an interesting Cyclone connector. That's an interesting connector. Wow. Okay. It's fascinating. So, what do we got? We've got a battery bank, by the looks of it. Got lots of connecting wires and a whole bunch of sensor boards. So we've got our ultrasonic distance sensor. Oh, nice. We've got a little soil moisture probe detector. That's not, it's a really nice presentation with all the cutouts and everything. That looks like a reed switch. It's a magnetic reed switch. Do we get a magnet with it? Not sure. And then we get a whole bunch of little boards. I'm not sure what that one is. Does it tell you? touch sensor. Oh, there you go. And microphone, little amp. We've got a buzzer, got jumbo LEDs. They're fun. Yeah, got the requisite motor. Of course, got to have a motor. Got to spin things around. Thought that was like a NFC thing, but I don't think it is. That's just an oh, no, multiple. They look like RGB LEDs. Whole bunch of little boards. Neat. Yeah, okay, so it's designed for the microbit, which I think's a processor. The processor board plugs in there, but where's the processor board? It's not in this box. This is just the... what? So, I can't even operate this. I'll have another look in the box, but I don't have the microbit. Wah. Base shield for microbit. Have they sent it in previously? They may have sent it in previously, I'm not sure. Anyway, nice, we've got our logic functions. Hey, that's neat, I didn't see those in there. And NAND gates, nice. I like that. Python, Scratch, and all that sort of jazz, so Sagan will no doubt have a good time with this, assuming I can get the microbit. That looks like a real comprehensive manual. Tilt direction, start your journey, digital easy, we've got our Scratch programming. Sagan's so good at Scratch these days, it's amazing. Got a Pac-Man thing, and that's pretty good. It's not an electronics kit, it's more of a Scratch programming thing these days, because kids just want to see motors spin and LEDs light up and stuff like that. But there's the ultrasonic stuff and things like that, so that looks pretty good, except I can't turn it on. Sorry, but that looks neat. Anyway, so what I might do is I think J-Car carry the microbit. I won't finish it for this video, but I'll get a microbit and then I'll get Sagan onto this. Maybe I'll get Sagan to do a review of the microbit and this STEM kit. If you want that, if you want to see it, maybe Sagan can start his own review channel. Sagan Reviews, or I don't know, whatever. Anyway, hi, it's very reflective. So this is the CrowVi portable USB, USB-C monitor, and you can see the USB-C input. Looks like it's got the external HDMI mini. That's very nice. Is that a headphone jack as well? It's got a couple of mics along the top here. This is, I think this might be the 15.6 inch version. It comes in 13.3 or 15.6 inch, and well, let's have a look. 12, yeah, 13, that must be the 15.6 inch. So the larger one, so it starts at $165 US for the non-touch screen, up to $245, I think, for the 15.6 inch touchscreen. I don't know if this is the touchscreen model, but anyway, it's got all that, oh, that actually came off. It's got all that, you know, carbony feel to it, even though it's really not. And nice textured back feel on that. It's quite nice. So what's the external? Oh, that's power, so it must be rechargeable. No, I assumed it would have been rechargeable, but it's probably not. In the box, I get a whole bunch of stuff. Got the Australian adapter, beauty. So that looks like just a, is that a, yeah, it's just a One Hung Low brand, is it? Yep. But that is supply. So they've got a USB-C cable. We've got a HDMI micro to mini to regular. We've got HDMI cables, longer USB-C cables. It's got all the requisite stuff. And it's nothing special, just full HD, 1920 by 1080, 60 hertz. So yeah, but that's, you know, you don't really need anything more than that. And you wouldn't really expect much more than that for the price either. It's just designed as a nice little portable USB-C monitor. Now, I'd love to do a teardown of it. Unfortunately, we might. Maybe I can try and prise that back panel off, but as for the rest of it, I don't like our chances. Probably have to, it's either heat sealed or we have to do something else to try and get that screen off. So yeah, I don't like our chances. I have a little pry, but anyway, won't be that exciting. And no, I tried, but it seems to be all like stuck together, all glued together. So yeah, sorry about that. Let's just have a quick power up. We have Pi, Raspberry Pi that is. Geez, the reflection, sorry, it's pretty terrible. I'd get a, I'm surprised they don't give you a anti-glare screen for it. That would have been nice, but anyway, we're in like Flynn. There's our Raspberry Pi. Sorry, I don't know why it's not coming up with the GUI. Should. Anyway, that's just the HDMI input. Works fine. Now, one of the problems is that the black bezel is actually down the bottom like this, the thicker part of it, which means that the case is actually on the top. The folding thingy, my bob, is actually on the top, and it doesn't actually work like that. It, you know, before we had it standing up like that, no problems at all. But if you do that, well, it's upside down. So all the electrons are going to fall out. Like, what the? Maybe we can flip it in software, but geez, but by default, I think it's upside down. So we can actually call up a menu on the side here, and we can change the position and the aspect ratio and all that sort of jazz. Color temp, HDR mode, auto power down, but I don't see any ability to swap that. So that's disappointing. The stand is like useless because it's upside down. I swear. Maybe I'm just a complete dummy, but I don't like it at all. Okay, it looks like I am a dummy. There you go. It comes down like that and then out. Let me try that. Oh. Okay, it does actually work when you do that, but it's very like it's just like I can picture using it as a touch screen, and then if you have maybe a slippery surface, I've got a grippy surface down here, I can picture this thing just falling over. So I really don't like that at all. It's hopeless. Okay, I've got it hooked up to the computer. The first thing is that it's got two USB-C ports on it. One's for the power and one's for the video. And I've plugged it in my computer and I cannot get it working as a monitor. It auto detect Windows 10 detected it, but it only works as like a touchpad kind of thing. Here you go. Here's the editing screen for my video, and if I touch it, you can see that I'm able to move things around. Whoa, yeah. So it works as a touch screen, but anyway, fail. And I don't have one of these newfangled USB-C smartphones, so I can't have it as a monitor for my smartphone either. So I don't know. I got to call a partial fail on this one. Maybe I'm doing something dumb, but nah. Actually, I correct that. I did actually get it working as a touch screen with just powering it from the video side of things, but I still can't get it working as a video screen. It does warn you in the manual that if you don't have enough power from the main one, you may have to plug in the second one as well.